Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode in the Video Archive VHS Collection series. And this is part 5 of the big boxes. As you saw before in the last episode, I finished up all the Disney clamshells I had. Now we're moving into clamshells and big boxes from some of the other studios. So without further ado, let's get started. First, we're starting off with a Stanley Kubrick film, 2001: A Space Odyssey. This is the original MGM CBS Big Box from 1980, so a bit of a collectible here. You see inside, it gives a list of credits for the cast. The original silver label is present. There's no manufacturer date on this tape. You do get a serial number sticker though at the top, which was pretty typical for a lot of these early video releases. Next up, we have Arthur's Perfect Christmas, which was I believe it was an hour-long television special from the Arthur animated series, which was a show that I grew up watching quite a bit. It's also very nostalgic for a lot of other people my age, and especially for those who grew up in the 90s. And like the previous tape, this has no manufacturer date on it. And as you can see, the lid came open as I was putting the tape back in the box. Speaking of holiday specials, here's a Peanuts one, a Charlie Brown Valentine. This, I believe, was the second Peanut special themed around Valentine's Day, which, speaking of which, that holiday's coming up just next month. There's the tape itself. It was a full rental from a grocery store that's nearby. The manufacture date, it was only brief. I'll show it up again. It is the 49th week of 2003. And that's it for that one. Okay, next up we have Hanna-Barbera's adaptation of Charlotte's Web, which is a film that's pretty nostalgic for me, as well as a bunch of other kids who are around my age, as this was shown quite a bit in grade school, as Charlotte's Web was a popular book for children my age during that time. 49th week of 1998 is the week and year code on this one. And it comes in a green case, which is kind of unusual for a tape like this. Next up, we have the 2003 remake of Cheaper by the Dozen, starring Steve Martin. This is another pretty nostalgic movie for me. This was pretty well received by critics at the time, and it was also released around Christmas, I would assume, to capitalize on potential critical acclaim. The print out of this one is March 3rd, 2004. Okay, we have a classic musical from the late 60s, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which stars Dick Van Dyke, who was also in another classic 60s musical, Mary Poppins. There's the label on that. And this was a later printing, November 24th, 2003. This video originally came out in 1998. Next, we have a Shirley Temple movie, Curly Top. And this video release is colorized, so it's not in black and white. There might be a black and white release from the 80s, but this reissue is in color. Print date is October 9th, 2000. Next, we have one of my all-time favorite Christmas films, A Christmas Story. This is its original big box video release from the mid-80s. I believe it was 1984 was when it originally came out. Once again, like that 2001 VHS, it has the cast credits inside the case. This was printed October 23rd, 1987, and as you can see, the little end label fell off, so I just put it inside the case. Next up, we have Fly Away Home, which is part of the Columbia TriStar Family Collection, which was relatively short-lived. There weren't a lot of videos that came out as part of this line, but it was one of those video collections that came out to compete against Disney. This was printed on the 48th week of 1996, and that's all I got to say about this one. Next up, we have the live-action film adaptation of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Of course, Christmas wasn't that long ago. This is still a pretty regular watch of mine during the time. Uh, this was printed the 39th week of 2001. Next, here's a holdover from the previous video, Heidi. This movie was not produced by Disney, even though its video release was distributed by Disney. So that's why I didn't show it at the time. This was printed May 23rd, 2002. Not much I have to say about this one. It's not that remarkable. Next, we have an older Alfred Hitchcock movie. This is I Confess. This was before he became really popular with films such as Rear Window, Vertigo, The Birds, and especially Psycho. I think this film is from the early 50s. This is one of Warner Home Video's early video releases, as you get a big black box for the tape, and it also has their logo from the time engraved in the case. Next, we have International Velvet, which is a movie I never watched, but as you can see, it's another one of those MGM UA big boxes. And like the others, you get the cast inside, and you get a silver label, and you also get a silver end label as well. And this was a full rental from some video store. The label is badly torn on it, and you do get that serial number sticker similar to the one on the 2001 VHS I showed earlier. Next, we have one of my favorite childhood movies, The Iron Giant. Still holds up for me today. This was Brad Bird's directorial debut. He went on to direct such classics including The Incredibles and Ratatouille. And this tape was printed on October 6, 1999. Next here is a guilty pleasure of mine, Jingle All the Way. It was kind of after Arnold Schwarzenegger had kind of peaked with his career, so he was kind of in a number of stinkers during the early 90s. I don't necessarily mean stinkers that they were bad movies, but mainly he was just in a lot of box office failures. This tape was printed on the 33rd week of 1997. And like the cheaper by the dozen VHS, this comes in a nice hard case rather than a soft one. And that'll do it for this video. In the next one, I will show the rest of my big boxes and clamshells. And then afterwards, we'll move on to a lot of my forward releases, as well as kind of the small boxes that I own. So if you guys enjoyed this video, stick around, and I'll catch you guys later.